Hi, I'm Jenna.
And I'm Mark.
And you're listening to
Cincinnati Zoo Tales.
Hey everyone, we are here today to talk about this new baby hippo. We wanted to give everybody an update. We are very, very excited. But it's not just me and Mark, and it's not us and a guest. We have as much of Team Africa as we could have that is here working today, here with us to tell us a little bit about their experience with this new baby hippo that we have, and just hear everyone's perspectives and just share our excitement with everyone. So, we'll let everybody introduce themselves a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Really fun, easygoing, kind of casual episode. Really, it's just us kind of reminiscing on the last few days because it's been a whirlwind. Jenna said leading into this, we're all very sleep deprived, which is very true. But
today is Friday, August 5th, by the way.
Yes.
So it's only been a few days. The baby is
The baby was born Wednesday night around,
9:40.
9:40, yeah. So not even
little
48
over
hours
24
old.
hours old, yeah. Cool, so go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm Wendy Rice. I'm the head keeper of the Africa team, and I am one of the lucky golden ticket winners that was on original Team Fiona. So I've been here at least as long as Fiona.
Hi, my name's Teresa. I was also here for Team Fiona. I did all the overnight shifts with Fiona when she was a baby, so...
A little bit of hippo
This will be a little
experience.
different.
This has been a different experience.
I'm Molly. I'm a temp here in Africa, and this is my first baby hippo experience. So.
Yeah, I'm also a temp. I'm Ariana, and I'm really excited about this baby.
Yeah, so it's definitely been this huge team effort for so long now. We have to thank volunteers who have been watching overnight, and I am so thankful I can put my phone on silent again and not have to worry about, did somebody call when I wake up, that sort of thing. But, Tuesday, Bibi sort of started acting a little different, and we noticed that she wanted to isolate herself from Fiona and Tucker, and the way we were able to know that without her being able to tell us was that she started doing a lot of laps outside. She was very active. It was going on 11:30 and she was still doing her laps. And usually Bibi's sleeping by 30 minutes after she's been put outside. So we were definitely keeping an eye on her, and it was hard to not sit and watch her all morning. And then when I went back to clean, she would come to the door that leads to the indoor stalls, and she doesn't normally do that. Sometimes if it's 3 or 4 in the afternoon, she comes and she's like, does anybody have food for me? But she's not like Fiona. She doesn't usually just hang out and watch us clean. So I thought that was odd. And we decided after a few times of her doing that and seeing her be a little bit aggravated with Tucker and Fiona for no reason. They were just laying there and she would just go up and bite them. We were like, I think she wants to be alone. So we brought her in, and the rest of the day was really quiet for the most part, and we kept an extra set of eyes on her all night. I know, Mark, you helped out Tuesday night watching. Ariana, you helped out. I forget. And Teresa. Yeah, so what did you guys, so Tuesday night before Wednesday, what were you seeing?
Teresa, you had the first watch, right?
Yeah, it was kind of boring.
That's what
She
I was
didn't
thinking.
really do much. Yeah, she did a lot of sleeping. Every now and then she would get up and do a couple of laps and belly rolls. Her feet would be up in the air, but then she would go right back to sleeping. So it was kind of boring.
Yeah, that's what I looked at the notes the next day. I was like, oh my gosh, Mark, you had the middle of the night shift.
Yeah, I had a similar experience because I was, leading into it. Obviously, we're all so excited for this baby. Like you said, the whole team's been talking about it. The whole zoo's been talking about it. This is such a huge thing.
City.
So leading into the night, I'm antsy. I was like, I'm going to be up till 3 or 4 a.m. I better try and get a nap in. I couldn't sleep. There was no nap to be had. So my watch started at 11, and I'm like, all right, it's going to happen tonight. I'm so pumped. Bibi barely moved.
That's when I looked at the notes and skimmed the footage, I was like, I don't think he even got to see her roll once.
No, she stirred for maybe 30 seconds and did one quick lap around the pool. Other than that, she did not budge for 4.5 hours.
When I woke up,
frozen.
Sometimes she is so still. I'm like,
it's broken. Is it on?
So we're very lucky. We have remote access now, so we can watch cameras from our beds. So a lot of us have been doing that, checking in overnight and seeing how she's
Ariana
doing.
Ariana had the last watch.
Yeah, and then Ariana had the last watch, and I texted her as soon as I woke up. How's it been going? Or
It was funny. I actually put my alarm super early, and I was like, "Oh, I'm ready. Okay, my Wi-Fi is great. Let's go." And then she didn't move. I watched a spider make a web over.
Oh yeah,
I was very fascinated with that.
Somebody entertained you.
And then she did start moving around 5, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, she's moving. Is something happening? And staring at her like super intensely. I'm like, no, she's just swimming. I was like, I feel so dumb. It's okay.
No, I mean, that's what we've been doing for weeks, right? Like, gauging and, like, staring at and analyzing every single little move she's made. And, I mean, looking at the cameras constantly when we were, like, weeks out. So, trust me, that day, I don't blame you for thinking any movement was something. But, yeah, and then she was, like, sort of calm the rest of the day on Wednesday. She was doing some behaviors that made me think, or us think, that she was uncomfortable. Once in a while, she would, like, kind of lean her head into the wall, like, oh, what's happening? And it kind of looked like she was stretching a little bit and doing some rolls, but by, like, 8 or 8:30, she really was calm until, like, 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. There was hardly any movement at all. She spent the day sleeping and, like, resting up for the big event. And then we started questioning, like, what is happening? Yeah. But the number one indicator to us Wednesday morning was that Tuesday evening, she ate her food. Wednesday morning, she did not eat anything. She did not want to go outside. We gave her the option.
That is not common for Bibi.
Like, Bibi
she does not miss a meal.
No. She is normally, like, waiting at the gate, begging for food when we walk in at, like, 7:15. So that was a really big indicator, even though she wasn't, like, showing signs of, like, contractions or anything. And then she, again, didn't come out in the afternoon or evening when Fiona and Tucker were brought in for dinner. She didn't want anything. And so we, like, were keeping an eye on her, and, like, around 7:30, there was a group text with Wendy, myself, and our bosses, and Christina was like, does it look like she's pushing or contracting? I forget what the exact question was, but we started paying attention.
Her tail, like, her back end just looked kind of pooched out, for like, lack of a better term.
Very
like,
swollen back there.
Right. We're like, that seems different. Yeah, and we all started, like, watching excessively from that moment on, and it's like it picked up very quick. All of a sudden, it was like, it seemed like she was having contractions. She was reacting to certainly discomfort and pain, and it was very, like, rhythmic. Like, it would happen for a while, then there'd be a break where she'd, like, relax and kind of snooze, and then it would happen again. And yeah, and at some point, I think we were like, this feels like the real deal.
Yes.
And this is Wednesday evening. What time did you say it was?
Like
7:30.
Okay. Yeah, and I was reviewing footage this morning, and it looked like she started picking up some activity around 6. So I think she started to feel a little more discomfort around 6. But 7:30, we were all, like, glued to the cameras. She's definitely showing signs of discomfort.
Texting back and forth with screenshots and, like, playing back video, and, like, everybody's like, my picture's blurry, who's got the picture? I can't see it. And somebody's like, my screen went out. Like, when everything was getting intense. But, like, yeah, at some point, I think it was, like, right around 8:30, I said, I feel like this is it. Like, I feel like birth is imminent. Mm-hmm. And that's when they sent you in, Jenna. They were like, wait, let's get somebody to the zoo in case this is really happening.
Yeah, there was, like, a moment where I think Christina thought she saw possibly, like, a sac coming out or something. So we wanted to confirm that there wasn't anything stuck and everything was fine. And I came in and kept the lights off, and I just heard something, like, hit the ground. And Bibi had finally gotten out of the pool and just, like, tossed somehow half a squash, like, not at me, but I like tossed it at me. Yeah, it just somehow came flying out of her mouth, and it was so weird because she hadn't eaten anything and she didn't want the whole thing, which is just, I mean,
just a little snack.
She loves food, so that was weird. And I confirmed, like, with my flashlight that she didn't have anything sticking out, and then I just went back to the keeper area and watched from the computers. And this was like 9 o'clock, 9:15 when I arrived at the zoo. And again, everyone now is aware, and, like, were all of you watching from home?
I think that around, like, 8:30 or 9 is when we got the text from you guys and said, I think it's happening. And so that's when I turned my camera on and just started watching it. And she was in the pool for a little bit, but then as soon as she got up on land, that's when things started, like, actually, you could see it on the camera, what was going on.
Right, and it was so cute. She, like, we put hay out for her to eat, and she didn't eat any of it, and she chose to lay, like, on it as if it were a comfy pillow. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's sleeping, and I meant laying on it, and Wendy was like, no, it's happening, and I was like, no, I just meant laying, and we could see, like, we had a perfect view of this whole thing.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh, and it looked like she was pushing, it looked like she was, like, stretching, and then she got up, went to the corner where absolutely no one could see anything but, like, the top of her head, basically.
Yeah. Like, the one blind spot in the whole building. Bibi found it for this birth.
And I guess we could try and watch it from a different view. I wonder, I've just now thought of that.
I've tried
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tried every view that night, and I couldn't find it.
You guys are on it. Okay. So I'm sitting at the computer, and can't see anything. But then I just hear, this has become the famous quote of mine now, I heard a plop! And I don't know how else to describe it, but...
It's accurate.
You could hear, like, liquid and something hit the floor. And we had the lights off, so I just went in with my flashlight on my camera and, like... Oh, and I got up from the stool from the computer, and Dr. Nolan, one of our veterinarians, walked in the door at the exact same time as I was, like, coming towards her, and probably had this, like, crazy look on my face, because she just stopped, like, instantly and didn't move, and I was like, it just happened. I think it just happened. And she was like, oh. And so I went in and confirmed, like, the baby was alive and moving, and it actually was what I heard. And then we were, like, texting, and Wendy's just sending gibberish, and I was like, baby, tiny. I don't know what else I said.
Yeah, the only way that I knew that the baby came because we couldn't see it was because I kept seeing you guys with your flashlights, like, on running back and forth. I was like, oh, there has to be something there.
Well, and it's noteworthy, too, that at this point, Bibi has walked away, by the way. Bibi left the stall. Bibi noped out of the situation, which was a little scary initially. I was like, oh, no, turn around, that's your baby.
She just needed a few moments to gather herself.
I think so.
Exactly.
What just happened?
She was in a daze for sure, just kind of standing there a stall away, and I was like, Bibi looks great. Oh, no, Bibi's not by the baby.
Yeah.
Bibi is not by the baby, but it didn't take long, and then she
realized.
And I think it's so interesting. She gave birth in the exact same stall that she had Fiona in, and on land.
On land again.
When she had been laboring and in the water almost the entire day and night, and so clearly that wasn't coincidental. Like, I guess she
prefers
chooses,
it.
Yes,
like that is something that I was dying to know if she would have the baby on land or in the water. And I think I sent a text that said she's a land laborer. But it was really
and then
quick.
Somebody immediately sent the photo that we had that may have been like the conception of this. There was some breeding that went on land
which is normally they normally breed underwater.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That's so funny.
I mean, usually have their babies underwater, so
she just likes to be on land.
Make her own rules here in Cincinnati.
But no, we are so excited. This baby is full term, healthy. We have not gotten a weight on it yet. We do not know if baby is a boy or a girl. We know everyone wants to know this. We do not know quite yet. But yeah, shortly after, baby started following Bibi around, seems to be doing really well.
It took a little while.
It was the two of you here that night, right? Jenna and then Wendy took over for Jenna. Okay.
I was on like a 10 to 2:30 shift or something, and at one point, Baby ended up in the neighboring stall, kind of against the wall, and Bibi was in the original birth stall, and Baby just kind of hung out over there. When it would get up, they would walk along the wall and like suckle on the wall and things. And I'm like, your mom's around the corner. And I kept waiting for Bibi to go to the baby, and she did a few times, but the kid didn't follow her. And so it was I was getting a little scared about that 10 to 2 shift. But it's like everything changed right around 2 a.m.
Okay.
Like she went over, engaged the baby, and the baby was finally like, oh, it's you, and seemed to be like Velcro ever since.
Okay.
Like, following her everywhere she went from then on.
Was it like 4 a.m. when the placenta passed, or was it more in time with when the baby and Bibi started connecting more?
It was after my shift.
Okay, so do you know what happened around like that 2 o'clock mark that changed it, or?
I don't know. I think maybe B just like needed a breather. Like, I'm just gonna have a few hours of mama time, and then I will engage with you for the rest of your life.
Where are the nurses at? Come take this thing and swallow it.
Right.
Like, you guys took over last time. What are you doing about it?
Yeah, so I think she just needed a minute to like compose herself, like Teresa said.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, we're very, very excited. What were you thinking? How late did everybody stay up watching this?
Probably up until about like 12:30, so like a little bit after midnight. I stayed up and watched just because I think I had to work the next day, so I wanted to make sure that I was able to wake up at a good time. But yeah, I stayed up and watched for about 3 hours and just watched them interact, and I didn't get to see when the placenta drops, and so I came in the next day and looked for that video and saw it, and it was really cool to watch. And to me, that seemed like that was a big indicator of when they started bonding even more. And yeah, it was really cute seeing all the way that they kind of grew into each other and started interacting with each other.
I haven't had time to go back and look at all
But
I want to.
Yeah.
Anybody else stay up really late? Like, it was so hard to force myself to go home, but I knew I was lucky enough to come in the next day and see the baby, so that was the only thing that convinced me to go home.
Yes.
You have to be alive tomorrow, Jenna.
Right. Yeah. And we did talk about that as a team. Like, we know this baby's coming. It's probably going to be in the middle of the night. We're all going to want to be glued to the screen or here at the zoo, but we obviously have a whole department of animals we have to take care of, and we have to take care of ourselves to do that. So, I was proud of everybody. It was like, look at us being adults, going to bed on time so we could do our job in the morning.
I was right there with Molly. I probably stayed up till about midnight or so, but I was coming in the next morning a little earlier, around like 5:30, to take over for like the early morning shift. So it was hard to force yourself to sleep for sure.
Yes.
And then at that point, like Wendy had mentioned, we still hadn't quite seen Bibi and the baby really bond yet, and the baby was kind of off on its own for a little bit of that time, and I was really nervous going to bed, like, oh man, are we going to have to intervene again? Is this going to, obviously we want Bibi to take care of this baby. So I was extremely glad and happy to see when I got in the next morning at 5:30, I walk in the door, peek around at the baby, and the baby is sleeping like on top of Bibi's head. They're on land, just laying in the stall, Bibi sleeping with the baby, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Like, something must have flipped in the middle of the night,
I woke up the next morning because my alarm went off for work, and my phone was already pulled up to the video, and so I opened it like half asleep still, like watching to see where the baby was, because I was so happy I didn't wake up to anything, bad news or anything like that. And so I already had it pulled up, and I was like half asleep, like trying to find the baby still and trying to see what Bibi was doing. And I was like, I'm going to be there in like half an hour. I don't need to watch this, but yeah,
so exciting.
Yeah,
Teresa, Ariana, you guys got any stories from?
I was actually hanging out with my friends the night it happened, and I was like hiding in the corner. Like, I'm not looking at anything. They're like, you're really glued to your phone. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just work things happening.
You didn't tell them?
No, because I didn't want to like spread anything.
She's staying true. She's staying true.
I would have been like, don't tell anyone. This is what I'm watching. You stayed up late too, didn't you, Teresa?
Yeah, I stayed up till about 12:30. I was off both days. That happened last time when Fiona was born. And she was born on my weekend. But this baby was also born on my weekend. I watched Tuesday night, and then I stayed up late Wednesday night to watch. Went to bed around 12:30, but I woke up at like 6 on my off day and like checked in, like what's baby doing now, and like reviewed footage to see like what they did overnight to see what happened. But I was off. I wasn't here, so.
It was cute. At one point on the video, you could see Fiona's little head sticking through one of the doors from the outside and just checking out to see what's going on.
She was definitely curious what was going on.
For sure. She's like, I hear something going on. I'm not sure what's happening.
What about the size? Was anyone else surprised that this baby looks smaller than I thought it did?
I definitely feel like it's a tiny baby.
Yes.
It's not quite round yet. I mean, it's obviously healthier and stronger and bigger than Fiona, but I'm dying to get it on the scale because I think it's tiny.
I think definitely for I think it's within the healthy weight range, but definitely at the small end of it for sure.
Which is good for Bibi. I'm sure she
appreciates
that.
Yeah.
And then Jenna, you were in the next morning, kind of covering the hippos, keeping an eye on them. When did you actually see like nursing, kind of mom and Bibi bond? When did we see the baby go into the pool, that kind of stuff? Like,
gosh, it was such a busy morning. I know there were notes that we thought there was nursing scene on the camera, but we couldn't confirm any of that. But around 11:30 a.m., I think it was like 11:30. The water was clear enough, and the position the baby was in and Bibi was in, we had lowered the water a little bit more, and Bibi just rolled to her side, and the baby was kind of stressing me out because it kept going to like her head and her neck, and like, you're at the wrong end, like move down, and it didn't take long. It was just like less than a few minutes, but eventually got right into what looked like the perfect nursing position, and the amount of time it spent staying still underwater right there where her teats are, we're like 99% sure. And then the fact that it's maintained all of its strength and energy is another thing. So it's really difficult. Hippos usually breed underwater, usually go into labor underwater, have the baby underwater, but they also nurse underwater. So we have seen the baby nursing underwater, and that's completely normal. But it makes it really difficult to observe all of this. So a normal animal watch, you're going to have a much clearer picture. You're going to see everything.
Or you can even hear the suckling happening.
Oh, yes.
But not underwater.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
we
it's
did
hard
see
to
milk
confirm.
on the floor.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so much milk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was really encouraging. We knew she had milk.
Yes.
For sure. So that was also like, okay, we feel good about things.
Because that was one of the things we still had to keep in mind. Like, the baby could be born healthy, but if Bibi isn't lactating or producing enough milk, then there's still a chance it'd be a healthy baby, but we would have to step in and like bottle feed it or something. But so far things are going so well. And Bibi just slept the rest of the day. You know, they did
She's
not come out of the
exhausted.
pool all day yesterday. They didn't come out of the pool until today, Friday, this morning. I don't know, it was like 8:30 or 9 at that point, and Bibi came out. Oh, yesterday, though, she wouldn't come out for food, but we decided to just toss her some lettuce, and she was like, yes! She went right after it. But she would not leave the middle step of our pool, so unless you gave her the lettuce in front of her face or like in the water, she was keeping that baby really safe and also resting, and like would only come up to a certain halfway point in the pool. So we gave her plenty of produce, and we offered her tons of stuff on land, but she chose to stay inside or in the pool. So this morning she came out, she had at least a flake of hay, she had a couple pounds of grain, lots of lettuce, some sweet potato. So she's had lunch as of now, and she seems to be doing really well, and so does the baby.
As cute as the baby is, which obviously it's insanely adorable. Like, that's been my favorite part, has been seeing Bibi through all of it, because we were all so unsure about how she would respond, and after the first couple hours where she was like, what is going on? Kind of in a daze. Ever since then, she's been absolutely incredible. She's keeping the baby close. She's got a good balance of, like, you know, she's very aware, and she's keeping an eye on, you know, if we have a vet come in the barn or a visitor come in the barn to check her out. She's very aware of them, but she's not, like, acting overly aggressive and over-asserting herself or anything like that. So it's really been fun to see her kind of keep that baby on her hip and the baby stick right next to her, too. Like Wendy said, it's like Velcro. Like, they're
really
stuck to each other.
So nice. The animal world, the babies usually try and stay by their mother, or they can put them down in a safe spot and they stay put. Where human mothers are like, I need a stroller, I need a carrier, I need a, you know,
So
a leash, all these things.
I had the exact same thoughts watching Bibi like the first 24 hours. She's literally just like, I'm gonna lay here, you find that udder, child. And the kid does all the work.
Yeah.
And that baby has blown my mind. The amount of like energy and like watching it go from like wobbly, I can't even get my feet under me, to like now I'm like wandering up and down the wall looking for an udder, and just it's really
I
impressive.
mean, swimming, learning how to swim.
Yeah.
Having to come
my
up for
gosh.
air because they sink like a rock.
Yes.
Like everything about this kid is just blowing my mind. It's so impressive. And B just laying there doing all the right things. Being chill.
The best part for me so far is like, well, one of the best parts. There's been a million of them, but like sometimes you can't see the baby because it's behind Bibi, but you just hear this. It's like coming up and takes a breath. It literally is like half a second and it bops back down. But it's like really.
You see the
it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Okay, it's still breathing.
Jenna, I know you were trying to time it yesterday. Did you decide how often the baby comes up for air?
Yeah, so I watched it like a handful of times and counted, and it always comes up between 20 and 30 seconds.
Okay.
So, and we'll have to like keep doing that, I guess, and see
how
quickly it progresses from like 30 to 40 up to a minute. Because when they're born, the mother's job is to find like a shallow space and help them get to the surface and get a breath, because they can only hold their breath for like 30 seconds at a time as a newborn, but you know, most adults can hold their breath like 5 to 10 minutes. So the mom does have, I guess, a little bit of a job, but they usually find that shallow water to help with that.
Or if you just are like Bibi, you give birth on land. You don't worry about that.
That too. And
You
then
can
it's so
breathe.
funny because we were so nervous about the baby then going into the water, but they're normally born in the water. But
so true.
oh my gosh, I wasn't here. How nervous were you, Wendy, when it actually went into the water? And what did it do? Like,
It seemed startled. Like, well, they ended up at that top step, and its little face like drooped down, and I think it could sense that something was there. And Bibi was again right next to it, and it finally like fell in, and it seemed startled and like, and it popped out pretty quickly.
okay.
So that first water experience only lasted like a few seconds, and I guess they decided to venture and deal with that a little later. It sounds like.
So we'll give you a break for a second. I mean, imagine you just came into the world
Right?
and then you just fall into a pool
Unknown
of water.
substance.
Yeah. You're like, why am I floating? This is weird.
It is definitely incredible how quickly they develop, though, because I mean, we'd have to go back and check the camera footage. I don't know exactly when it happened, but it was taking its first steps within an hour of being born, which is insane.
Definitely try and stand and then kind of fall over and try and follow Bibi and then kind of fall over and, get itself in different precarious situations. But eventually it just had its strength, and most animals are so amazing they can start walking way before you would ever think they should be able to. Do you remember what time that was that it seemed steady on its feet?
I think it was around midnight, by midnight, so just a little over 2 hours after birth.
Not too long at all.
No, much more impressive than human babies for sure.
So I know it's hard to see some of it on camera, but do you guys remember the first time you saw it taking its steps or anything that you could see from it?
You could see when Bibi kind of angled herself into that corner. You could only see really Bibi's head, so we didn't really know what was going on. But then all of a sudden you saw her with her head down, kind of checking out that corner. You couldn't see anything still. Then all of a sudden you just saw a little baby head pop in and out of the frame every once in a while, and it was so cute because the people at home still didn't really see anything, know what the baby looked like even. And so once in a while you could kind of see it move, try to figure out its footing and get up on itself. And after a few, you guys said it around 12 or so, and you could finally see it come into frame and see the whole baby, and it was so cute.
Yeah. It's so much smaller than I thought it would be.
Yes,
honestly.
Really
I thought it would be way rounder, but...
Yeah, me too.
Thick little legs.
Yeah, and its head looks so... It's whole
so
body
tiny.
is smaller than Bibi's head.
Yes.
The ratio is so impressive to see. It's my favorite.
I mean, I know everyone on this team, but people listening, I don't know if you've seen the memes or just different videos where they call it a water potato, and it does look like a potato, and it's a little bit buoyant. Hippos sink, and they are very dense, but the baby, it was trying to nurse yesterday.
Its butt was floating.
It floated in the air while I was nursing. It was so cute, but it doesn't have that much depth of water to sink in, but it does. If it comes to the surface, it just tucks its little legs, and it's just this tiny little potato that just slowly sinks to the bottom. But because Bibi has been such a fantastic mother, very protective, mostly staying in the water, we haven't had any confirming, very confident, opportunities to say what the gender is quite yet. So we can't wait to announce that. We will as soon as we know. We're not keeping it on purpose by any means.
I was about to say, what do you think is kind of timeline stuff on that? When do you think we'll know gender? When can people, visitors expect to be able to come to the zoo and see this baby? I know it's all a fluid situation. It's going to change. For sure. But... Yeah,
we're going to base a lot of it off of Bibi's behavior, how the baby does. The pool outside is really deep. Bibi should do a great job of keeping it in the shallow end, but we want to be confident that this little calf can jump from 0 to 10 feet, essentially, to catch a breath if it were not kept in the shallow area. But we want to get them out as soon as possible. Mom and baby usually bond for up to 2 weeks alone, so we'll keep Bibi and baby probably just themselves for at least 2 weeks. But there's a chance that they could go out and Fiona and Tucker be in. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be fluid. We're going to base it off of baby and Bibi's health, and yeah, I think as soon as the baby allows us to get a really great look, that could be today, that could be, I don't know when. We would love to know the sex of the baby, but as far as Bibi going out with the baby, it could be anywhere from a week to a month, and same thing I feel with introductions.
And it's up to Bibi, too. That clearly little Velcro baby is only going where Mama's going. So it's even if we open the doors and if Bibi is not feeling comfortable about going on to habitat yet, then maybe we're gonna trust her and just kind of let her take lead on that, I imagine.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, it's literally Bibi's show at this point.
Yeah. And thank God, that's what we wanted. We're all so excited that she's doing it all herself this time. It's great.
Yes. So we just wanted to give you guys all a quick update. We're very excited, and we need to go back to it. Don't worry, we have somebody watching, making sure they're okay right now. But we wanted to end our episode as we usually do.
With a what can I do?
What can I do, Wendy?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Wendy.
I picked this because this is something my family started doing at home, and I'm shocked at how easy it is, and I like to think it has a pretty big impact. But Kroger has just started accepting tons of different plastic recycling. So it's things like your shopping bags, and all of the plastic that encases everything you buy. So if you buy paper towels and they're wrapped in plastic, that plastic can go into this, I use a garbage bag at my house. So you just start taking and using all of that plastic wrapping that's on everything we purchase, and assuming it's relatively clean and dry, stuff it into that bag, and you can take it to Kroger, and you could literally take an entire garbage bag's worth of plastic at a time. That's kind of how we do it. And Kroger is working with TerraCycle, and Kroger is essentially covering the cost of like shipping this stuff to be recycled. So things that usually end up in your trash, you can now set aside for a separate kind of recycling.
Is this all Kroger's, do you know, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can double check their websites. Sometimes it's not super obvious where the little recycling center is because they usually have like a garbage can size recycling can with a small hole in the top.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. I thought they were just for Kroger bags.
It is. That's what I think most
like
people's
shopping
misunderstanding, is they think they can only recycle their shopping bags, but you can literally set your entire garbage bag full of plastic right next to it, and they take it and recycle it, and even like the bubble wrap, like envelopes and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely check out Kroger's website, and they have like a nice little infographic that breaks it down really easy. It's a super simple thing you do, and I'm sure it makes a big difference because plastic, we know, is a huge problem right now.
Right, and all of that stuff can float away. So if it makes it to the landfill, it can, who knows what waterway it'll end up in. Right. So yeah, I had no idea. That seems super easy, and definitely thought it was just the shopping bags. So I'm guessing a lot of people think that too.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a good what can I do? Does anybody have anything else they want to add about Bibi and Baby?
Stay tuned.
Thank you guys for joining us. I know it's been a whirlwind week for the Africa team for sure, but we're excited moving forward. Sorry to the Africa team members that weren't here.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be off every day.
Right.
We couldn't really make it all work for everyone.
Yes.
But yeah.
No, it's definitely been a team effort for sure.
For sure.
And I guess just one more quick shout out to like the whole community out there that's supporting us, and like we see all your comments and well wishes and love that you're sending, and we really appreciate it. It makes a world of difference to us.
It's definitely
pretty amazing. Some hippos can impact people's lives this much and make them fall in love. So very, very cool. All right, well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep. Until next time, we'll have some updates for you.